Hey everybody, it's been a while since I posted one of these sorts of videos. I know I put up those 3-hour drawing things 5 days a week, and very few of you are interested in watching those, and I don't blame you in the least. But I just talked to the station manager over at Fact TV, and I'm going to start doing a weekly live stream. I'm going to do it in the evening. And it's not going to be drawing, it's going to be chatting. There will be, live chat and a Zoom call that, at least at first, anybody who wants to can join. Let's see, there we go. There's the Fact TV logo. And get you a bit more content that isn't just you seeing what's on my Cintiq as I work on the comic or whatever. Other than that, this is so thin, I'm sure it doesn't do jack shit in terms of, protecting me or anybody else from conspiring, which is to say, breathing together. It's a token. It's just a gesture to say, look, I'm not making a big deal out of it. Although, honestly, pandemic response, both organized and organic, emergent, it's fucking bullshit. It is fucking bullshit. We're a year into it now, just about, and I'm so over it. I am so over it. But I was going to say, but I'm not here to complain, or actually I didn't have anything in mind other than to just give you something that isn't me drawing. Actually, what I'm giving you is my face, because with my live stream set up for the drawing sessions, you don't see me, you just hear me. Unless, well, even then, the Zoom calls that I set up are audio only. So, yeah, you don't see me. What's going on? I just read a book. By a tech guy, tech CEO. I'll put his name and the cover of the book up on the screen. I didn't read it. I listened to it on Audible. And I do insist on making that distinction because they are not the same activity. You can let your concentration wander. Actually, you can do that reading too. I used to do that a lot. I would discover that I have no idea what I'm reading. My eyes have been tracking, across the page for a while, but my mind is elsewhere. But that's, it's much worse with audiobooks. Typically, an audiobook that I think is useful, I will listen to several times. And if I think it's really useful, I'll get the Kindle version and read it, or at least read parts of it. But the one that I just read, I can't even remember what it's called now, or what the guy's name is, but it was supposed to be about technological deflation. How technology makes stuff cheaper, it makes living cheaper, and that we should just embrace that. Countries typically set inflation targets of around 2%, and that's because we're a debt-based society, and people have to at least pretend to be paying back their debts, and it's really hard to do in a deflationary environment. So it's much better if you have to make debt payments. It is much better to pay off money that you borrowed in the past that was worth more with dollars that are worth less. And in a deflationary environment, yeah, your dollars, they buy more. At least they buy more cell phone, they buy more TV, they don't buy any more house, they don't buy any more medical care than they used to. In fact, they buy less. So, deflation is not across the economy. It's just certain items, certain sectors where radical deflation is the rule, and housing ain't one of them. So when this guy's talking about how really what we need to do is just embrace deflation and stop trying to keep inflation going, I just visualize all those people living in tents on the streets of LA. Now, a lot of them want to live that way, but a lot don't. A lot. Yeah, maybe if you were reduced to $0 in your bank account, you wouldn't be on the street because you have expectations that you can make more. You have connections with people. You have skills that you can leverage. You have relatives and friends who you haven't alienated yet with your, your drug habit or your craziness or your just constant mooching. So yeah, the people who end up in that situation, a lot of them are damaged. They're not normal by your standards or my standards. It doesn't mean that they should be living on the street. Here, that's a nicer view down there. I will look at the brick wall. You look at the pretty farm down there. Oh, I definitely need a new selfie stick. The one I have now does this. I got to pace, actually. Got to pace around. Got my teeth in. That's for Rose. I'd be happy to, have my gap tooth face be my brand. But she doesn't like it. So if you read the reviews for this book, everybody says pretty much the same thing. This could have been a blog post. This could have been an article. And it's totally true. The book is advertised as a book about technological deflation, and he talks about it in the beginning and he talks about it at the very end. And then the rest of the book just seems to be like a grab bag of stuff taken from other authors, or a grab bag of discussions on topics that, I'm quite familiar with. So there's a long section on 3D printing. There's a long section on autonomous vehicles. There's a chapter which is basically just a condensed version of, the whole Ray Kurzweil spiel about accelerating returns and technological advance and whatnot. There's a section on how people factionalize, and quoting the famous psychological experiments that we've all heard about. I mean, come on. So the author had, interesting insights here and there, but it wasn't really worth wading through all this very, very familiar stuff in order to get to, the occasional comment which was noteworthy. So yeah, it really should have been either a more thoroughgoing examination of the topic that he claimed to be examining, or an article, a blog post, a YouTube video. But anyway, I'd talk to the guy if he was willing. I'm sure we could have a great conversation. Obviously, we've read a lot of the same books. And I just started a new book by, names. Joel Kotkin, I think it is. And the book is The Coming Age of NeoFeudalism, or something along those lines. And I'm barely into it. Like, I just bought it, only heard a few minutes worth. But I listened to an hour-long interview with him on the What's Left podcast, and that was excellent. We'll put a link to that in the show notes for this video, because that really was an excellent discussion. And then I went to YouTube and I just looked around for interviews with the guy, and I watched one where he was interviewed by Steve Bannon. So he talks to communists and Steve Bannon. There was one where he talked to the PragerU guy, so he lives in California, he's an academic, he admits he's a lefty, or, he comes from that tribe, but his current position, he's insistent that his current position is not factional, it's not, ideologically tribal, that really he's speaking to everybody and has the welfare of everybody in mind, and I fully believe it. And I'm really looking forward to get into it. In fact, it's a beautiful day. It's 40 degrees, thus I'm wearing, not my my Arctic expedition gear, which the last several months have required every time I step outside. So I'm going to take the phone inside, maybe post the video first, but then take a nice long walk and listen to an audiobook. It is a good activity, particularly for somebody who is dependent on physical exercise and who has not had access to the gym for 3 months now. Oh my God. I thought that the TRT was going to shield me from the psychological effects of, the workout withdrawal, and it did for 3 months, but now I've reached the end. I've reached the end of that buffer, and it's all coming crashing down on me. So, gotta walk. All right. Talk to you again soon.